OpenAI just released the fine-tuning API for ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, which allows developers and users to customize their experiences with the LLM. This means that ChatGPT 3.5 can now be made to focus on more specific use cases and perfect on it for user satisfaction. You'll be taken through what the implication of such capability is for the model and how you can go about making the best out of this new amazing opportunity presented by OpenAI. So sit tight and let's get on it. On the 22nd of August, OpenAI published the information on their website announcing the fine-tuning API for ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, and what you'll find at the title is API updates. Developers can now bring their own data to customize GPT 3.5 Turbo for their use cases. What this means is that for the first time, OpenAI is allowing the users of the free version of ChatGPT, GPT 3.5, to tailor the software to function the way they would like it to. And there's serious benefits to this new development. You can use your personal data, let's say information about your company, to train the model. This will eventually change the tone, content, and style of generated content to suit your personal style or that of your company's. Having said this, people have really been worried about the safety of personal data on platforms like ChatGPT, but OpenAI assured users in the publication that the training data belongs to the user, and that they won't be using it. The information is right here, and says, as with all our APIs, data sent in and out of the fine-tuning API is owned by the customer and is not used by OpenAI or any other organization to train other models. OpenAI identified 3 key benefits that had been observed with the fine-tuning API. And the crazy thing about this update is that it has been proven to be better than even ChatGPT 4 in performing some tasks. ChatGPT 4 is still known today as one of the most powerful large language models out there today, with over 1 trillion estimated parameter size for the model. But somehow, the fine-tuned model of ChatGPT 3 is challenging its position. With the fine-tuning update, the ChatGPT 3.5 API is way smaller but a lot more specialized. The large size of ChatGPT 4 makes it a lot more difficult to optimize performance and is incredibly expensive in terms of computing power. With GPT 3.5 Turbo fine-tuning update, you get some incredible benefits like improved steerability. With present models, it's a bit difficult to control what the outcome will be when you type your prompts. That's the gap the fine-tuning update is here to fill. Fine-tuning allows businesses to predict the direction a generated content will take. With your personal data in the system, it's bound to follow instructions better and tailor the content the way that it represents your thought better. This works really well if you're looking to make the LLM run in a particular language or for people who might want to use the model to power a chatbot. You can be assured that your customers are going to get the needed details with this development. The chance is that this solves the problem of LLMs not being able to capture context and situations. You can now make it to, literally. Having a reliable output format is another benefit users have with this model. This way, thoughts and ideas are preserved, making the model more suitable for wider application and official capacity. The predicting feature of this model will definitely get better with this improvement, completing your prompts based on the foundation dataset. On the other hand, fine-tuning is a great way to make the system sound like you would want it to. Users who employ the model won't have to make extra effort to edit content, as everything must have been put in place. So far, GPT 3.5 has been totally free for users. All you have to do is create an account and you're logged into the system. But the updated ChatGPT 3.5 fine-tuning comes at a little cost for users. You'll find the pricing listed on the website measured in tokens. And it goes for both the amount of token for prompt input and output. According to OpenAI, fine-tuning costs are broken down into 2 buckets, the initial training cost and usage costs. Training is 0.008 cents per 1,000 tokens. Usage input is 0.012 cents per 1,000 tokens, and usage output is 0.016 per 1,000 tokens. What this means is that before you decide to go for this update, you should make sure you have your plans laid out about what you want to do. That way, you'll be able to cut costs to a reasonable extent. You might be wondering what the necessary steps are for you to start using these resources by creating your own custom model. Now, what you'll have to do first is obtain an OpenAI API key. This key will allow you to access the OpenAI API, which is used to fine-tune the ChatGPT 3 model. This can be obtained by creating an account on the OpenAI website. Secondly, you'll have to create a training dataset. Training models like this require some amount of data that they can build upon. In this case, it'll be something unique to the purpose that you'll like the AI to serve. This dataset should be relevant to the task you want the model to perform. For example, if you want the model to generate text for an FAQ, you would need to create a dataset of FAQ questions and answers. Another thing to consider is that the training dataset should be large enough to cover all of the possible variations of the task. Cleaning the dataset you're feeding into the module is paramount. To a reasonable extent, it's still very much a garbage in, garbage out case with these systems. Just that with AI, the risk is a little more heightened due to obvious reasons. This step is important to ensure that the training data is free of errors and that it's in a format that the model can understand. There are tools available to help you make sure that the dataset is suitable enough for the task. When everything is in place, what's left is for you to upload the training dataset to OpenAI, which can be done using the OpenAI API. This is then followed by fine-tuning the model. This process can take several hours or even days depending on the size of your training data and the complexity of the task. These tech companies often evaluate each model they create against certain benchmarks to make sure that they actually do what they're made to do. In a like manner, once the fine-tuning process is complete, you need to evaluate the model to make sure that it's performing as expected. You can do this by using a test dataset that's different from the training dataset. Once you're satisfied with the performance of the model, you can move to the final step, which is deploying it to your application. One thing to note by anyone trying to make use of this update is that the amount of training data you need will depend totally on the complexity of the task you want the model to perform. So the implication is you might be needing a large dataset or a smaller one. Just as the ChatGPT 4 is being considered to be so powerful because of the parameter size, the more training data you have, the more likely you are to get a better model. There's a variety of techniques to fine-tune the model. You have techniques like supervised fine-tuning, reinforcement learning, and transfer learning. Each will be explained for a clearer understanding. Supervised fine-tuning is a machine learning technique in which pre-trained models are trained on new data. The major goal for this type of training is to improve the performance of the model on the new data by fine-tuning the dataset that were previously learned. Supervised fine-tuning is often used in deep learning, where pre-trained models are available for a variety of tasks, such as image classification, natural language processing, and speech recognition. Reinforcement learning, on the other hand, is a machine learning technique in which a model is trained to behave in an environment by trial and error. There's a video on this channel about an experiment carried out by OpenAI on this. They trained 2 teams of agents to play hide and seek, improvising as they went on to solve various problems. The results from this were both scary and mind-blowing. The link will be in the description, so you can check that out later. The agents in this training method often receive rewards for taking actions that lead to desired outcomes and penalties for taking actions that lead to undesired outcomes. Over time, the agent learns to take actions to maximize its rewards. Reinforcement learning is often used in robotics, where robots need to learn how to navigate their environment and interact with objects. You might also want to opt for transfer learning method. This is a technique in which a model trained on one task is used as a starting point for training another model on a different task. This can be done by freezing the weights of the pre-trained model and then training only the last few layers on the new task. Alternatively, the weights of the pre-trained model can be fine-tuned on the new task. Transfer learning can be used to improve the performance of a model on a new task, especially when there's a limited data available for the new task. Before you decide to do the fine-tuning, it's important you note that fine-tuning process can be really expensive, so that it's imperative to choose the right techniques and parameters to optimize your costs. If eventually you'll be doing this, there have been warnings from experts and even Sam Altman himself, the CEO of OpenAI, on the dangers of having wrong information fed into such sophisticated systems. According to OpenAI, we're expecting a fine-tuning API for ChatGPT 4 later this year. But till then, the ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo fine-tuning update has the upper hand. That'll be all for this video. Do keep in touch for more engaging content.